Selamat welcome! Today we'll be playing our Mass of Momentum Cindra list. So it's very blue based, it's not your typical, well, not typical, we just saw a completely different take from the two I mentioned before. It's the red line Cindra that took down Calling Memphis this past weekend by Brody. The list was made by the one and only Yuki Lee Bender, and it's very interesting. I'll be covering the list very, very soon, so stay tuned. But it's interesting to see, circling back all the way to our first Cindra first impression video, I mentioned that other than the full Draconic and the full Dagger build, there is a third, not very focused on the cards, but the color of the cards that you're running. It's the red line build. But the red line build that we saw did not use Tome of Imperial Flame or Blood of the Drakai, and it's more like Fi and in the way that it's attacking. But enough yapping about the red line build, because today we're playing the blue-based Massive Momentum build with Spreading Flames and Throw Daggers and Concealed Blades. And today we're facing Dori, who's a hero that we haven't seen in quite a while, but she's back in a big way. The Hunted has just generic warrior cards that Dori can use and Gasai can use. So Dori's back in a big way, with Jagged Edge as a way to fight the Enigma matchup, which with the prevention effects making it very hard to hit. Well, now we have an unpreventable effect other than your Chorus of Iron Song, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not very familiar, but only Dori had that set of cards. Now all warrior has Jagged Edge to deal with prevention, and yeah, she's pretty scary now with a lot of Gogan effects, grains of blood spill, and a ton of reactions. How can we handle her snowballing Dawnblade? Let's see in today's gameplay. Hello. Today we'll be facing against Dorinthea. Dorinthea is very interesting with the new addition of a bunch of warrior cards from the Hunted, like Provoke, and the aura that gives Thingamabobs go again. It's pretty interesting to see a resurgence, especially in both Dawnblade Dori and Hatchet's Dori are quite viable right now. How we want to side, we want a few reacts, we want Arsenal Disruption, since this is sort of a racing matchup if it's Dawnblade, and it's value matchup if it's Hatchet. You never really know. You might want to side out a few of these, a few of the 2-block cards, and we'll see how it goes. And this is Dawnblade. So against Dawnblade, you really want to prevent them from snowballing. Oh, and Kabuto is the nuts against you. It does so much. Okay, let's hope it's not glistening. Oh, I mean twinning. Yeah. Oh well. We block 3. Hopefully this is not the piercing thingy. Blade Flurry. That's fine because we have a loyalty from the grave. That's why you need the react in this matchup. But I did not bring in Wax on since it's not very good. If you have the Sink Below or Shelter, I would bring it in as well. Okay, so here we can dagger pitching Warmongers and then brand into Dragon Power for 7, which is pretty decent. So dagger. And Warrior has a bajillion armor, so you kind of want to like chip in and threaten Mass multiple times, make them use their armor early, so later on it's easier for you to trigger. So, but don't expect to get a lot of draws in the early game because they can do stuff like that, but it's okay. Just make sure to keep threatening, make sure to do the flick, and they either have to spend another piece of armor here, probably the arm piece usually. That's what they use relatively early. Or a card from hand, that's also fine. And we're hitting them for a good old 7. This is why I run the blue line Cindra, the massive momentum Cindra, instead of the pure red line that you might have seen won the calling. But this version, it's way easier for you to get the 1 for 7 value. And arsenaling blue, like the blue Staboon, is not a detriment because Staboon, although it says 2 on the bottom left hand side of the corner, it actually deals a lot more than 2. Okay, we don't really have a good turn next turn. So I think if we can block like this, but if they have singing, we get kind of destroyed. So let's let the first one, because if they Brave Forge, then they can't have singing. And they can't Grains either. So against Dawnblade, it's very important to manage their counters. Okay, they didn't Grains, which means it's likely that their hand is a 1 cost. And they didn't Brave Forge either. So high potential for it to be a 1 cost react. And 1 cost reacts are singing and yeah, I think only singing, unless we're blocking with armor. We kind of want Arsenal Spreading Flames. A weird line we can do is pitch Art of Dragon to dagger, get a resource, mark with magma, throw dagger. Instead of blocking for 6, they get Green's value here. That's a-okay. If we pressure them enough, we threaten a draw. So pitching Art of the Dragonfire seems really weird. And we get Omega punished if they block the dagger. But 9 times out of 10, nobody blocks the first dagger, especially when you're on a 5-card hand, because they know you have so many chain links, at least the potential for it. Hopefully they block 4, like so, or card and piece of equipment. That's sweet because we get to throw dagger here. And throw dagger is one of our best blues. Yeah, we do want a stain counter actually, because we want to throw dagger again. Kinda unfortunate, but okay, I guess. We can Burning Blade Dance. We can Flick Knives. This is a bit weird since we're not gonna be able to start next turn with any daggers since we already returned. But this Staboon is coming in for a plenty. So cool, we rip their hand, which means it's time to block. Just donate the entire hand, because sadly it only blocks 9 for 4 cards. Okay, we reset the counter, and we have a nice buffer of life total to work with. Here, again, we can block 9 because the hand doesn't function really well. Them pitching a yellow means they have a bunch of like reds. This doesn't have to go again naturally, so they either have to have like glint or use up their vultures. Blocking 9 is fine. They need 2 pumps to get over it. And yeah, 2 pumps just to get over the first attack, and sure. Yep, and they IP'd 1 and we attack for 4. Now we wait for a moment to get our daggers back so we can get an actually good Spreading Flames turn. This is one of the reasons why, main reasons to run not red line, is you utilize Spreading Flames very, very well, because with Spreading Flames and a blue, you're at minimum getting 5 value because it buffs the 2 daggers. This one is interesting. Sure, we'll let them undo. Want to deploy this? Sure, we'll let it hit because no go again up front. They need to use stuff like that and glint or use up their boots. They did. It's fine. Now we block 5 like so. We're gonna use the blue to pick up our daggers, and we're going to play out the Imperial Seal. Sure. They're not on an arsenal, but they do have 2 vigor, so something to watch out for. This hand doesn't have a blue, so we're not going to be using our Spreading Flames on this turn either. This hand doesn't block very well, so we're likely just to send it. Spoils. Ugh, that's scary. 8. Assuming a +3 pump puts it at 11. Our hand only blocks 10. But that is way too scary to let through. Hopefully this is enough. It is. We reset. Okay, so we're playing the patient game. Okay, this is a hand that we can work with. Blue, 3 good quality attacks because Spreading Flames plus 2 daggers, that's 3 Draconic Chain Links. On the 4th Draconic Chain Link, you play Hot on their heels, it'll get buffed from 3 to 4. After that, Blaze Headlong will get buffed from 4 to 5. And then this will also get buffed from 4 to 5. Pitching a red. Our hand doesn't block well, but this gets them 2 counters. But if we do a really big turn, they'll have to, and if we let them hit, they're more inclined to like keep an arsenal, which means we'll get value from our Imperial Seal of Command, which is CNC on a stick, while also at the same time letting them not use D-reacts. Okay, we didn't lose too much life there. Pop this. We'll start with 1 dagger first, because there's a high chance they'll block our Spreading Flames with Kabuto. Nice, they didn't. That is great for us. Usually people just like insta snap block Kabuto on Spreading Flames. We sniped their arsenal, which is a D-React, so we did get massive value from our CNC on a stick. We're just here to push, push, push. 4, 5, 5. This marks them, so we're definitely getting a fealty. 5, we draw a card. So we're pushing their face in as much as we can so they don't keep like a huge hand to attack us with this huge ass Dawnblade. Rising Resentment for 4, and end on a Blaze Headlong for 5. Don't forget to flick and rebuy dagger. Sure. The Kabuto. Is finally used. And they're down to 10. Unsheathed. Dawnblade for 9. Our hand blocks 12. So I see this as a potential to reset, but if we don't get the reset, we probably die. Let's think. Is there a way for us to take whatever this is, and how much damage can we do? We can do 1 for 3, fealty this for 5. So 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 13, 14 damage. We're only demanding 4. I'll let them know that we're thinking. Because this is, I think, the most pivotal turn. Either we reset their counter and start over, and they have to like climb their way back up to 3 counters, or we just try to race, and if we get there, we get there, and if we don't, we 100% lose. Because this is at minimum 9 plus 6, 15. We'll be at 4. So I don't think that's a winning proposition. Now let's think whether we want to block with armor or not. This gets out of... If they have singing into twinning, we're in trouble. But you can't play around everything, and a lot of decks don't play more than 1 twinning. Okay, we reset 3 counters to 0. We lose our fealty, but that's okay. Great, we found our second loyalty from beyond the grave. Because we already have 1 from our very first turn. So this is basically free block 3. They must have a way to get go again, so we'll pass first. Because there ain't no way they're pitching a Warrior's Valor. Oh, they get the go again from the Sharpened Senses. If they pump it, it gets go again. Cool. Since we didn't block, we don't trigger their glint. Sure. Oh, their hand was kind of awkward. Okay, there is a world where we block with flick knives and loyalty to try and deny, but almost certainly they have a an attack react. Oh, it's Iron Song. We've been blanking their Iron Song response for so long because we don't block. Okay, they get their counter, they get a vigor, and they get an arsenal, but what we do have is a 4-card hand. Oh, that's cool. We can end on no daggers, but a ton of damage. We can brand, flick, Brand Flick, rebuy with Cindra, blood runs deep. Flick, rebuy, equip both. This throws both daggers. Now they have to block this stab wound. Remember that we don't have massive momentum anymore. This will kill them if they don't block, so this is a must block. They can block with a card and it'll stop all the damage, but they need to give the card, which means we're only dealing with 2 cards, which is very, very manageable. It really limits their potential damage. And when you're dealing with Dori at a low life situation, you don't want to be caught out dead. Okay. If possible, I'd like to keep these 3 so I can Cindra and not triggering. They don't have an attack react. No go again, or possibly just glint. Okay, if it's just 4, we're so winning. That's a thing that can happen with Dorinthea, is you don't have go again. They keep their counter, but they don't increase their counter. And they IP'd themselves by 1. We're sending 4, 3, 4, potentially another 1 from Dagger Flick. So this is a must block, otherwise it's lethal. But I think we're still going to throw 1 dagger anyway, because we still have a lot of 1 cost in the deck. So there's a potential we don't use both daggers. Okay, cool. They pitch their singing. You can block like this. We can dagger mark with magma hot on their heels. If they blade flurry. Oh, they singing. Okay, sure. For glint. And then they glint. And then we loyalty. So either they have a 0 cost react and then they get to hit, but they don't have resources to swing again, or they need to keep the card to swing again, but they don't get the hit here, so we reset their counter and they get an arsenal. And we're threatening 1, 3, 4, and flicking an additional 1, so that's 9 total. Oh, and you might have noticed that I'm on yellow brand. I've changed from blue brands to yellow brands because I'm playing my brands a lot more, and if I'm playing them, I'd rather them be yellow instead of blue. And the 1 less resource is you just sometimes you don't use it if your hand doesn't have a 1 cost, or if you do have a 1 cost in your hand, you swing your dagger 1 less time, which is an okay-ish trade-off for being able to attack for 1 more whenever you're playing it. And I find myself playing my brands a lot more than I am pitching them. And the opponent at 1, and if we get to survive, we keep a single card, and they don't have shelter, they die to flick knives. At 2, I don't think there's a single react that kills us. Overpower is 3 cost, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, overpower is 3 cost, and they usually only run the blue, so might as well not trigger reprise. Yep, puncture gets us down to 1. GG's. Very intense, very close game. Wish I could throw my Dawnblade at you. Okay, very nice and friendly opponent. And yeah, that's it. So try out the deck list for the Momentum Cindra down below. The advantage of it is you get big turns with Spreading Flames that are not really available in the red line build. Red line build doesn't is very consistent. So like the floor and the ceiling of the turns are like there. Meanwhile, the blue base version is more like this. It has lower floors due to exposure to frailty and shelter from the storm. When your daggers are completely neutered, it's not very easy for you to get your mass triggers because usually you have a blue and that's for 2 chain links, and if your 2 chain links are not available, then it's not as good. But the advantage is you get some really nutty turns, especially with Spreading Flames. If you're able to keep like a 5-card hand, or especially a 5-card hand plus the Loyalty Beyond the Grave, and even on top of that, if you have the Wrath of Retribution or Cindra Spec, you can do a massive like 35-38 damage turn. That is very hard to deal with in tandem with the Dragon Scalar Flight Path boots, allowing you to swing your kunai an additional time. So like an ideal scenario would be Spreading Flames, and then you Wrath. Spreading Flames pitching a blue, you have 2 resources left, and that 2 resource is to pay for a Wrath, which is discounted by 1 for the Spreading Flames. Now you're at 0 resources, you're at 2 chain links deep, and then you dagger for 3, because the daggers are buffed both by the flames and the Wrath. Dagger for 3. If any of the daggers are blocked, you flick, and you attack something. Your head jabs are now 4s, and your 4s are now 5s. So it's very hard to block. And after you flick, if for example, if you have on top of your flick knives, if you have like throw dagger or a blood run steep, you can throw both daggers and you return them both back and then attack with the 2 daggers for 3 again. And don't forget to use your Dragon Scalar Flight Path on the dagger attack as well to swing for 3 at 0 cost an additional time. And that's how you get your 30 plus damage turns and win mirror matches. And additionally, you can run more on hits, 1 cost on hits. For example, if you want to take it in that direction, you can run like Snatch, you can run Take the Tempo, you can run a 1 cost attacks with more on hits like Art of Dragon Scale, Art of Breaking Point. It's easier for you to incorporate 1 cost stuff in your deck since you have a blue base to support it compared to the red line build. But it does have its downsides of being softer to disruption. You're more reliant on your dagger, so dagger banishing effect from graveyard hurts you more. That's why you need the 3 concealed blades and the kunai in your inventory to re-equip if your opponent does happen to banish one of your 2 daggers. So yeah, Dori is a force to be reckoned with. It's a very close match. Be sure to know what to expect, know what React stories are bringing. Consider the new cards, the new aura, the jagged edge if you have damage prevention effects. Be sure to calculate how much they can react on top of your blocks. Because yeah, Dori's back, baby. And that's it for today's gameplay video. If you want to check out the deck for yourself, the deck list is in the description down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That is the best free way you can support me creating free Flesh and Blood content straight to your YouTube video feed. And as always, I've been Mas Bulemayan, and sampai goodbye.